Gotham episode 21, The Anvil or the Hammer. I love this episode leading up to, the season finale. I believe we only have 2 episodes left, possibly 3. But this episode threw a lot at us at one time, and it was definitely great. I don't think it was like cluttered. I think we just got a lot of really great stuff. We got to see the Riddler do like his first clue. I guess it wasn't really a riddle. It was just he wrote the note at the end of the episode, and it was a clue to what was happening, which is what the Riddler does. His riddles are clues, or he just gives a flat out clue that's hidden in plain sight. And I thought it was awesome. That was the first thing we got to see him. He melts the body down and he like bashes the skull and everything. So it's him taking hold of what he did in the last episode, and it was pretty cool. It was a nice little moment we got to see there. With the Penguin, that was actually pretty awesome. I really thought that it was a simple thing. He wants to have Maroni killed, and I figured he would. I initially thought there's not going to be anything to this. He's going to have Don Maroni killed, and there wouldn't have to be like a big twist for that to be amazing, honestly. If Maroni was killed off completely, it still would have been a huge deal. It would have been like he was able to make it work, and now he's free. And instead, there's an amazing little trick where it's like he dupes. He basically he dupes the hitman, and he gives them guns without the firing pins in them, and he has them both killed off because of course he knows what Maroni's gonna do. So Maroni kills them off, and now we're gonna have a huge all-out gang war between Falcone and Maroni. Penguin is gonna be working for Maroni or for Falcone, but he's obviously doing his own thing. That's why he started this war, because he wants them to kill each other off. And we still have Mooney, who obviously is gonna still be in the series. We didn't see her in this episode either, just like the last one. But she's coming back into the town. I saw a preview. I don't know if it was for the next episode because I had to watch it online. But there's a scene where she comes back in and her hairstyle is different and all this stuff. So she's coming back, which is, I don't think, a spoiler for you guys if you haven't seen the trailer. But I think we all knew she was coming back because that's, what she wants to do. Like, she took off initially, but she's got like a new group of people. Who knows if they'll really be able to help her as far as fighting and stuff goes, missing this and that and all sorts of crazy crap. But she's gonna come back into the fold, and who knows if someone's already gonna be dead by then. And I've mentioned this several times before. If like Maroni got killed off, I really thought he would die, and what would happen is Mooney would come back and basically just take over his side of things, because she would have a beef with Falcone and Penguin, so she would be able to easily convince everyone, like, hey, you let me take over, you know what I've done in the past, let me take over, and then we'll take over the whole city, because I have actual vengeance against Falcone far more than Maroni ever did. Like, he wants him gone, but they all kind of work together and this and that, and with Mooney, it's kind of like, you cast me out of my own city, I completely want you gone now. So I still don't know how it's gonna play out, but I'm incredibly excited for everything that's gonna be happening. The episode ended in an awesome way where it's like, they're at the police station. It's like it's gonna be an all-out gang war. Everybody needs to come in because you can't be on break. Everyone's on active duty 24/7 right now because it's about to get nuts. And it was pretty cool. They have like the sort of mini shootout where they're just shooting out the car, and Maroni does like straight up overkill because they were already standing there just lighting this car with machine guns or like assault rifles, and then he just comes in with like a sawed off double barrel, which is always really awesome. Those are always like cool weapons to me, and it's just like boom boom in slow motion, just shoots the driver. I guess it seemed like that's where he was aiming, and it's gonna be an all out war. He sends the heads of the hitmen to Falcone. Falcone is obviously going to see this as a message of the war being started, and obviously the shoot up of the car. So, with only a couple episodes left, they're going to really be, doing a lot. And I think that's kind of why we had these couple episodes with one set villain, because this was like the last villain of the season. And now the next 2 or 3 episodes are going to solely revolve around every character we already know. There won't be like, oh, here's another case for Jim and Gordon to solve. It's gonna be these characters that we know, which are going to be like the gang characters, like Penguin, Maroni, Falcone, and Mooney, and then the cop characters, which are going to be Jim, Bullock. I said Jim and Gordon earlier, a couple of seconds ago, but Jim and Bullock, the chief of police, Riddler is going to be in there doing something. I don't know, I guess, being really weird and Riddler-like. But we're going to have basically these two characters, or these two sets of characters, and they're just going to be in one giant storyline. And there won't be like a big case to solve. That will be the case. The characters that we already know, characters who have had, 20 plus episodes to be established, and, with certain characters kill off other characters, have, mini gang battles, threaten other people, and this and that. So I think that's why we had this sort of three-part thing where we get to see one set villain, which I think made for a pretty interesting conclusion in this episode. I do think it was very well done. But we had this three-part thing with one villain because there will be no set case for them to solve. It's just going to be all-out gang war, and we're just going to be like, what's going to happen with characters we actually know and care about, because obviously for each episode, when it's, this case or that case, it's like, yeah, the case is really cool, but we don't know these characters. They haven't been developed or anything. They're just characters that, come in and that's it. So now we have that, and I think that's kind of why they did that, because they didn't want to, for the last couple of episodes, keep up the case-by-case thing. So do like a big arc with one villain, and then have the rest of the storylines continue like they normally do. And now all the storylines come together after they officially solve the Ogre case. Excuse me. So I'm incredibly excited for this all-out war. Don't know how the heck it's going to play out. I don't know who's going to live or who's going to die by the season finale. But it should be something. It should be very entertaining. So I'm really excited for that. Like I said, the case, personally, I think it was wrapped up really well. I enjoyed the Ogre storyline. I was surprised after the first episode that it went into two parts, which I think we only got with the Executioner during the mid-season finale and mid-season premiere. And then after last week's episode, it went into, a third part. I was really surprised by that. Like, wow, they're, really keeping this going. And I think this episode, it definitely ended really well. They were able to get all this information. They found the club, which I forgot what it was called, but that was a funny scene too. And they go into this crazy rich people's party sex dungeon type thing, and when Bullock, when they open the curtain or whatever, and it's like a man and a woman about to I guess cut a pig up and do some other stuff to it as well, maybe. He just is like, no. He when he says GCPD, his voice cracks a little because he was so freaked out. I thought that was a really, really funny scene. So I definitely loved that. It was a nice little funny moment. And then a lot of crazy stuff happened at the end where, I don't know what happened with Barbara. I do, when I was watching initially, I didn't know what was happening. I thought, yeah, she was freaking out. She was just going to say, I really thought she was going to say kill Jim, because she knew, oh, of all people, if I say kill Jim, he's going to go after Jim. And then, obviously, Jim's just going to take this guy out because he's better. But she said to, kill her parents, who actually were killed in this episode. But after, that scene where she agrees to, what the Ogre's saying, you either name someone to kill or I'm going to kill you, she was very, very weird. It was not like she was just stupid or anything like that. It was she wasn't even there almost in these scenes. She was just completely, mentally it seemed like she was just unaware of what was really happening. And I don't know if she was drugged, if there was something in the water, or if she just really lost it. But it was a crazy thing watching that happen, because it wasn't her character just suddenly flipped a switch. She was completely gone. She watched her parents get killed off. She was just totally blank. When Jim showed up to the house and she was there and she walks up, she was just you're not supposed to be here. And I said that really calm, and she was even lower than that. It was just you shouldn't be here. And it was just really, really weird. So I'm not 100% sure if she was drugged with whatever was in that water, or she really just mentally lost it because she was so scared to die. and something happened. Maybe it was like something in the water, and that's what made her mention her parents, because that's who she's kind of had issues with for a long time. But it was just really weird, and I don't know if they're gonna dive into that in the next episode. They didn't really mention it in this one, and I really thought they were, where Jim would say like, did he drug you or something, because she was really so out of it. Like, even when he was holding a knife to her, she didn't have any of the same emotion she had in the first half of the episode when he was holding her hostage, and she was freaking out and crying and this and that. And although she did have those emotions after she drank, what the ogre said was water, maybe that was just the beginning of it, and that's why she even remotely mentioned her parents. Or maybe she had a plan to leave, but whatever was in there took effect, and that's why she was just like spaced out. Like, she just randomly mentioned some people, and then that was it. But I hope they touch on it, because I feel like it wasn't her character obviously it wasn't her character going evil, because she was barely even speaking. It wasn't like she said this and then it's like, yeah, I did wake up. And it wasn't like she was even agreeing with the ogre when he was mentioning everything he was saying. She was totally out of it. There was no I agree or disagree, or I had a plan to do this but it failed. It was just like she was kind of out of it. Like, she would say like the most basic stuff, like, you're not supposed to be here, or why don't you just leave us alone. And there was like really no emotion behind it, so I'm not sure what happened there. And I really do hope that they touch on it in the next episode, because I just have so many questions. Like, if she got drugged, does she not really realize what happened? Is she gonna kind of snap out of it in the next episode and realize that she told him to go kill her parents, and she was there when he did it, and she is gonna have like these crazy flashbacks, which may or may not drive her back into just kind of the drinking and the drugs, which I think that's kind of just her character at this point. She's just kind of something, like, I don't really know. She's sort of like I don't want to say normal character, but she's like sort of the most average character that we have. And typically, especially early on, I think she was just kind of like the weak link of the show. But I think these are probably some of her best episodes, where she was involved with this crazy character, and she was taking these certain steps to kind of move past being with Jim. Like, when she first met the ogre, and it's like, even though she totally lied, she was like, I'm not a cheater and this and that. It's like, that's bullcrap. But she kind of took these certain steps to change who she was and kind of adapt to what she'd done, and kind of move on with the crappy ideas that she had, in the past episodes. But I don't know what's going to happen with how they kind of play things by the end of this one. So I really hope it gets touched on. I hope that either she's still really out of it, or she snaps out of it, and she kind of has to mentally deal with the fact that she told him to kill her parents, and then she was there, like, she remembers seeing it happen, and like not moving, or not being able to move, maybe, I don't really know. But there was something going on there, and I hope we get some answers on that, because it definitely made it even crazier watching all that stuff happen. It wasn't like she just became like a super evil villain and she became a killer just like the ogre did. Something was off there. So I really hope they touch on that, because I think it'll actually help her character a lot. It might actually help develop her character in a really interesting way. So I'm looking forward to that. I do hope it's not like just completely brushed over, and I really don't think it will be. I think they're gonna mention like something happened to her. There's something in that water, and it, like, consciously, it just like took her out of it, and she was just like kind of there in the moment, and that was it. So I'm looking forward to that. The stuff with Bruce, I think, was pretty cool in this episode too, especially meeting a very popular character that we know of, was Lucius Fox. And I think it was really cool what they did in this episode, where Bruce actually goes to he goes to the company. He's like getting a little tour and crap, and he goes into the office and he gets busted by this guy. And Bunderslaw's like, okay, I know what happened. I know you got information that I was kind of coming after you, but you will kind of realize how things are meant to be. Your father did, and so did your grandfather, and you're gonna do the same. And then, like, that was ominous in itself. It's like he's obviously he feels fine. Like, he doesn't feel scared one bit. Like, this kid isn't gonna do crap to me. He has no power, even as the head of the company. Technically speaking, he has nothing on me. He has nothing that he can do that will scare me, and I have all the power right now. So it was kind of interesting to watch that play out. And then, of course, we get Lucius, and he comes in, and it's like he kind of saves Bruce in that little moment, and he, kind of tells him, like, your father was very stoic, but he was, the person that he truly was, he kept to himself, but he was a good person. And then he just, tells Bruce good luck, and I thought it was awesome. It was like we got to see Lucius, and even then, like, Lucius is always like kind of one of the good guy characters, and even at this point in time, he still is. It's like he knows some crappy stuff is going on. He's probably involved with it where he knows like what Bunderslaw is doing and some of the other members, and he knows that he has to kind of protect things in his own way, because otherwise he might get killed off himself, because he'd be going up against like 4 other people, or something like that. But we got to see him in this one. They kind of threw in the fact that he is like the tech person. He mentioned how he knows where the cameras are because he's the one who installed them. So I thought that was kind of cool, just for anyone who might not really know his character, because I think a lot of people do at this point because of the Dark Knight stuff. But that's really who Lucius is. He is like the tech person of the company, and he really does help out Bruce as Batman. Like, that's really what he does. And like, even his son is in like Batman Beyond. If anyone watched that, like, their company, like, he basically breaks off and makes his own tech company that technically does end up rivaling Wayne Industries, but they're still like good friends. Like, his son takes over that company and stuff like that. So his like character actually does some really big things in like the DC universe, and it actually carries on throughout time. So it was kind of cool that we got to see him in there, and I don't know how much he's gonna come up in season 2, or if we'll even see him again in this season. Maybe doing something sort of pseudo tech based, maybe, I don't know. But I thought it was actually really cool. And by the end of the episode, Bruce does admit to Alfred what happened to his friend, and kind of tells him like, well, this is what's going on. So it should be an exciting couple of episodes. I'm excited to see exactly what happens with this gang war. I cannot wait for Mooney to come back, because once she does, it's just going to be like, what the heck is happening? Because everyone's going to think she's dead. I want to see her run into Butch again, and maybe him seeing her will instantly like flip things back for him. Like, I know Zaz worked on them, and that's just how it was. But maybe it's not permanent. Maybe he'll see Mooney and instantly revert back to original Butch, I guess. I don't know, but I'm excited for it. I think this episode was definitely pretty fun. We got to see some great stuff out of all the characters. Riddler had a great moment, just being Riddler. We got to see Penguin start an all-out gang war. The main case wrapped up, and Jim's stopped the Ogre. And Jim, I like totally brushed over this, but Jim in this mission, when he was like really determined, he was flat out determined. He like didn't give a crap about anything. He was like breaking rules. He was about to beat up the one guy during interrogation. Maybe he did, I don't know. He rolled his sleeves up, and that just terrified the guy. But he like beat that guy up. He promised like the prostitute at the club, like, when he found him, when he found the Ogre, that he would not arrest him, that he would kill him. He was, she was like, just tell me that. And he's like, sure. And he was just like, they have like a crazy all-out fight, a knife fight in junk. He's getting flipped on the tables. He like, grabs the knife and like jams it into the other guy's arm, and he kills that guy. So he was like crazy badass by the end of this episode, and almost just flat out crazy. So that was something else I really enjoyed about this one. It pushed him really, really far, because he blamed himself for choosing the woman that he loves and completely forgetting about the woman that left him, which I don't think anyone's going to give a crap about, because a lot of people kind of hate Barbara to begin with. But it was really cool, and I loved the ending. Me and my girlfriend were watching it, and she laughed when he was like, I love you and I don't love Barbara, and if I had to do it all over again, I'd do the exact same thing. And she was just like, dang, like, he doesn't give a crap about Barbara, but he cares, but he doesn't love her anymore. It's like, you were number one, and I'm not gonna let you die, but you're not my number one priority anymore. So it was kind of a funny scene, but it was just true. Like, he still gave a crap because he just doesn't want people to get killed, especially when he feels like it's his fault, and he was the one. He was like the link that led to someone else almost dying. So it was definitely awesome. Of course, when he killed the guy too, and he sort of slit Barbara's throat, that was pretty intense too. Because I didn't know if she was actually gonna die or not, but she ended up being okay. And once again in that scene, her neck was cut and everything, and he's like, it's gonna be okay. Like, it's gonna be fine. And she's just like looking through him almost. So and once again, I hope they touch on that. But this is definitely a great episode. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And with this all-out gang war happening, and Mooney coming back in at some point, and every character kind of being involved in this now, what do you guys think is going to take place? During these last couple episodes, like, is Maroni gonna get killed off? Is Falcone gonna get killed off? I don't think they'll kill Falcone because he's still really big when Batman is out, and technically so is the Maroni family, but they're not. Excuse me. It's not nearly as big as Falcone. Like, Falcone is still doing stuff when Bruce becomes Batman, so I don't think they're gonna play that route. But at the same time, they've changed up a lot of different stuff, so they can do anything they want, really. But I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, and what you guys think might happen in these next couples. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.